Lions TV, we are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors that you can see on the screen just about now. If you are going to do a bit of business in the final furlong of 2020, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below or on our website, www.lionstv.co.uk. This is your Monday Club VT. We're going to look back at Saturday's board draw at Brum, and we're going to look ahead to Wednesday's difficult trip to face Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park. But unfortunately, as always, let's wind it back to Saturday and start out with the starting 11 that Gary Rowett picked to start the match. I'm feeling really down about things at the minute. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what's hit me. I'm starting to think this could be a big shout very early. I know we've got injuries and difficult times, but I just think that draws we're getting are papering over some very serious cracks that are soon to be incoming. 5 draws in a row, no wins in 6 games. The last time we won was 7 games ago in a 2-0 win against Preston back in October. And rightly or wrongly, this was his starting 11. Bulkowski in goal. 3 centre-backs, Hutchinson, Pearson, Cooper, Murray Wallace left wing-back, Yuri Skalak in at the wilderness at right wing-back, Ryan Leonard and Ryan Woods central midfield, with Troy Parrott playing central up front, Jeb Wallace on the right and John Daddy Budvarsson on the left. I'm going to start out by saying, yes, John Daddy Budvarsson didn't play very well, but let's not make this the John Daddy Budvarsson scapegoat show. It's not his fault we are where we are, or we can't score goals. In my opinion, problems lie a lot deeper, and he's not the only one not performing, so I'm not going to mention Budvarsson again for that case, only in a positive light coming up very shortly. That team, on paper, Yuri Skalak was a big shout. I didn't mind that. I don't mind Yuri Skalak. He hasn't hit the ground running at Millwall. Granted, he's on a lot of wages, allegedly, and he's one of Neil Harris's worst signings. But what I will say is this, he does try when he comes on, and he does graft. And I've always said he's a winger, and notoriously wingers could be another bit of a weird shout. I find can be quite in and out of games and lazy. I always found Yuri Skalak to graft. So him coming in at right wing back, I didn't mind. It does beg the question going back, which doesn't really matter because James Brown's never going to get into the team. But when Rowett come in, James Brown had been on loan a lot at the club. He'd been captain for the 23s for a few years. And Rowett comes in and brings him out of the wilderness, gives him a one-year contract. Now he can't get near it, James Brown. So it looks like Gary Rowett made an error of judgment on his opinions of James Brown, shall we say. I'm not hammering James Brown as a player. I think he's all right. I think he's quite good defensively. But obviously Gary Rowett thought he saw something in him that he later realised he didn't. And James Brown can't get near it. As a result, Yuri Skalak's coming at right wing back because Billy Mitchell would have probably covered Romeo if fit there, which he isn't. And Romeo's still injured. No news on that injury at all. A lot of players pulling up with injuries. And I'm not sure what's going on, boys. But what I will tell you is Jake Cooper played on for 15 minutes of that game with a dislocated shoulder. So a lot of you could take a leaf out of his book and get a bit of a rocket up your arse for these short-term injuries that keep cropping up for the same people who shall remain nameless for now. Yuri Skalak, let's get back to that one. I believe, looking at that team sheet, the reason he's done what he's done is he doesn't think Ben Thompson's done enough in the last couple of games, and he doesn't think Sean Williams has done enough in the last couple of games. So he wants to bring Ryan Leonard back into the centre of midfield with Woods. So in that instance, he's brought Skalak in to push Leonard back on. I disagree with the manager in that instance, if that is his opinion. If it's not and he just wants to rest players and give our players games, then I apologise, Gaffer. But me looking at that team sheet, that's what I think he's done. And then up front, Parrott central, Jed Wright. Again, Jed's our main man. I'm not going to hammer Jed. I don't hold any one player personally responsible for that performance Saturday, that lacklustre, no intensity, no ideas, complete lack of interest other than the first 20 minutes. But Jed, I'll say sometimes he has his boots on the wrong foot. And I think one of them days was on Saturday, judging by especially the free kick that he stuck in the stand, following on from the one he stuck in the top corner in midweek. And then John Daddy Budvarsson plays and Parrott central. Now, as I said, I didn't think Budvarsson did particularly worse than anyone else in the game. He puts a lovely cross in for Troy Parrott, who's got to score that, by the way. I don't know whether he bottled it, he took his eye off the ball, but he was more focusing on what the Birmingham defender was going to do. And I just wanted to go in there, and if he gets crunched and gets hurt, also I think that could have been another reason he doesn't want to get injured. But he's got to score that. It's a brilliant ball in from Budvarsson. Parrott's got to score, doesn't throw himself at it. Great player, Parrott, but I'm struggling to put him into a bracket at the minute. Fantastic on the ball, drops deep, Again, but I couldn't put him in a bracket as he's a target man. He's an out-and-out poacher. He's a goal scorer. Fantastic all-round player, very technically gifted, and seems wise beyond his years with his play and the way he thinks, his football brain. Fantastic player, but I can't be honest with you, I think Tom Bradshaw scores that. He's a poacher. They're the sort of balls that Bradshaw does thrive on, which he doesn't ever get. It's a great ball in, and Bradshaw, I reckon, is going to bag that, and I'll probably get hammered in the comments, but that is my honest opinion. So, yeah, I mean, yes, we've got injuries. I keep looking down the team sheet. Yes, we've got injuries, but in my opinion, that was still the wrong clientele. The three at the back, I can't argue with away from home because it does work for us. And I thought Alex Pearce had a good game along with Hutchinson and Cooper. I probably would have gone with Scott Malone going forward, although I didn't think Murray Wallace did a lot wrong. Leonard and Woods isn't working for me. Woods, especially out of those two, isn't working for me. Doesn't influence or affect a game. And a couple of times he was the deepest player in the side. We need to affect going forward. And the reason we don't score any goals is, again, not because it's the centre forward's fault, because, again, they're not inundated with chances, are they, and deliveries and supplies. We just can't create. We've got no ideas, no build-up, and we're relying on a set piece or a bit of magic from Jed to dig us out the shit constantly, and it's not been happening. You got Thompson on the bench there. For me, should have started. You've got Matt Smith, who's got to start because no one else can score goals other than Matt Smith or Jed, it seems. Both those players should have started. I would rather have Shane Ferguson started than Bavardson. The back five, not really a problem for me. The midfield two and the front three is the problem. And again, that reflects in the results, in my opinion, because we're not letting many goals in at all, but we're not scoring any. The game died a death after about 15, 20 minutes, and I'm not going to go on about it. All I want to mention is, again, a great shout out to Jake Cooper for being the soldier that he is and carrying on. And I believe he possibly could be fit again for Blackburn away on Wednesday. I feel defensively, flipping it over and looking at the positive side of things. In previous matches recently, Norwich especially, Sheffield Wednesday even, teams coming forward with a bit to offer, and we nullified them and limited them to zero or very few amount of chances. If they did get chances, we defended it well. This was an opposite for me. Birmingham was shocking, and they didn't create anything in the game, but I didn't feel that was because we defended outstandingly. I just felt it was because they was that bad, they couldn't create anything. And I'm going to flip it now. I'm not going to cover the game anymore. What I'm going to move on to saying, covering similar to what I said the other day. These clubs like Norwich, like Sheffield Wednesday, look at Derby, where they are. If we're not happy as a fan base with 5 draws in a row, what are these other clubs saying? Because we've been the better team in that game, in my opinion. We've been the better team in a couple of games that we've drawn. So, do we need to reflect? I will point out, I don't usually cover other football. Yesterday, I sat and watched one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. Chelsea versus Spurs. It took Chelsea to the 80th minute to register a shot on target. So, as a fan base, are we being overcritical? Football in general's done. Do you know what? Football in general, I'm starting to not enjoy anymore. I don't know whether it's because of the fans are not there, but I just remember back in the day, Liverpool v Newcastle, the Manchester derbies, 4-3s, 5-1s, 3-3s. Football's changed. What happens now is two teams sit. Jose Mourinho can be held accountable for starting this off, maybe. Two teams just sit with 2 banks of 4 or 5 and 3, and it's just very difficult to break down, and no one wants to attack anymore. Everyone just wants to defend and nick something on the break, and it's very dull to watch across the board. And again, maybe we're being too critical as fans, but for me, it's just becoming straining. It's just straining. It's putting a strain on my capacity to want to watch the game, my level of desire to want to sit there and watch these games, because they are fucking dull. Dull as dishwater, but it's another point on the ball, so what can you say? Moving on to Wednesday's game, we travel to Blackburn Rovers. They are, of course, managed by Tony Mowbray. They currently sit 2 places above us in the table in 9th place and 1 point above us. So it means a victory for us at Ewood Park on Wednesday will put us back above the Rovers. But I can't see it. And again, I don't want to be too negative, but I think this is a game where these cracks that I'm personally talking about, in my opinion, are going to get shown. Because they're on a rich vein of form. They are unbeaten in 5 league games, winning 3 of those, scoring 5 along the way. Last time out with a 2-1 win at Ewood Park against Barnsley. The one to watch for them is going to be Adam Armstrong. The 23-year-old Geordie is in a rich vein of form. He scored 4 goals in his last 4 games. And he will be the one to watch on Wednesday at Ewood Park. So this is your pre-match prediction. And here we go. I am going to go for, same as last season, 2-0 Blackburn win. Can't see us scoring a goal. I think we're struggling, and I think Wednesday, as I said, we're going to get exposed to be shown what sort of level we are actually at. Pete said correctly in his fan cam after the game the other day that this division across the board isn't strong, and it isn't as strong as last season. As I said, again, I keep referring to the fans. I think that is having an effect. And despite us drawing 5 games in a row, not conceding many, we can't score goals. And on that basis, I'm sorry, I think it's going to be a 2-0 Blackburn win. I hope I'm wrong, but I cannot see it. So that's your lot for this Monday Club. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please be sure to check out the fan score predictions from the other boys at Lions TV that's going to go out tomorrow night. And be sure to check out and tune into our live stream on Wednesday. I'm not sure what time kickoff is Wednesday, but I'll be streaming from half an hour before kickoff time. Hopefully we can have some excitement and not talk about the difference between fog or mist or what biscuits we like to eat on this particular day. I'll see you Wednesday for a live stream. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions, for fuck's sake.